Here's a different one for you today. A Brother printer DCP9020CDW. This is just a printer here in the office and it needs a little bit of maintenance. It's working and it's doing what she should, but she's getting a little bit dirty. Show you what I mean here. That's not so bad. It was worse yesterday. The whole side of the sheet was coming up pink. Everything else is working on it. Just some of the pages are coming out a wee bit smudged. So these printers do need a little bit of maintenance. So that's how to give them a quick clean down to get them running better again. They do start smudging and giving you dirty pages like this. And the problem is obvious. We have toner leaking. And the reason for that is cheaper toner cartridges. Them ones are okay. These ones mightn't be as good. They're just the black. These ones here were very good. These are copy cartridges, a lot cheaper. They were good, but I can't get them. So the ones we got weren't as good and left a mess. Cartridges for these machines, if you're buying the actual Brother ones, I don't even have any here. So if you're familiar with these machines and you're using the Brother cartridges, you'll know rightly these things are expensive. I can actually buy a full set of 4 copy cartridges just for the price of one of these. So obviously you have to replace these whenever they're empty. That's expensive enough. But also, I recommend you actually replace the carrier as well. And then after so long, there's more maintenance to be done. There's a belt underneath. That has to be replaced. Then the actual toner reservoir underneath of that again for cleaning up all the excess. That needs to be replaced as well every so often. So over time, these things can become very expensive to maintain. Those are just a couple of quick tips on it. If you have one of these particular models. First off, this machine, I don't know how old it is now, maybe 6 or 7 years. I think there's only ever one set of Brother cartridges put into this. Everything else has been copy ones. The actual cartridge cage, these here boys here, they have been replaced once. The actual drum underneath has never been replaced, nor the cartridge reservoir has never been replaced underneath either. I've just maintained it, cleaned it, kept it going the way it is. The ink's the biggest thing. One of these Brother ones are very expensive, and when they run out, you replace them obviously. If you need to get decent copy ones, you'll save yourself a fortune. Plus, when these things are running, if you're only ever printing in black, which we normally are, these things don't actually measure the ink. They just work out the average amount used as it's running. So if you only use black, it'll start telling you the colours are also gone, even though they're not using any colours. So what you do there is you just keep resetting this until it's actually empty. So when you're on your home screen, open up the door and you'll see where the hash button is, or the star. Hold that on. And that will take you into the reset menu. So then you can just reset all the standard cartridges. So standard, reset that. Reset that one. So this is just resetting it so that thinks everything's full again whenever it's not. Because this thing will just tell you it's empty even when it's full. So that's them. That now comes up. There we go. All full again. So that now thinks they're all full even though they're partly worn. You only replace the actual ink cartridge whenever you're getting lines in your printer and your sheets. If it starts missing and giving you uneven or becoming very faint, then replace them. Whenever you replace it then, it will also reset it. So if you're using this machine and you're only mainly using one colour or more one colour than another, you'll notice your inks are all going down together even though you're not using any colours. So this one's mainly black we're using, perhaps maybe a couple of logos. The colours are never been used. Black goes down and so does all the colours as well. This thing, whenever we got it, we worked it out the first month after putting in a set of Brother cartridges was going to cost a few hundred a month to run this thing now. Now we have to replace the cartridges, copy ones, maybe every 2 months, 3 at the most, and only cost about 40 or 50 euro. Massive savings from using copy cartridges and constantly resetting that there until the ink's actually gone. But now she needs a bit of work. These technically need to be replaced, but you can go into the reset menu on this as well and reset these. You can reset the drum belt as well, so you don't have to replace that. And you can reset the buoy underneath as well, which is what we're going to do now. So I'm going to reset all these, reset the belt, and reset the buoy underneath, and I'm going to empty it out as well, because I think it might be full and needing emptied. So we'll get all these out and give them a clean. Blue doesn't look too bad. And the black's not bad, but you can see that pink has got the whole way through to all of them. Take them out. I'll take this out. We'll also take this out. Now, what this thing's actually doing ain't all that complicated. This is the cartridge, this is the carrier for the cartridge. So when these are fitted, the actual printer turns these here wheels, turns the cog, there's a wee rubber roller here, spins right inside and takes out some of the ink, which transfers onto this. A heating element inside the machine then transfers the ink, or the toner, onto the paper to print. The excess then drops down onto this here, which is basically just a conveyor belt. She's just driven here and the belt just takes the excess away. Takes it over to this, which is basically a bin. So this belt actually runs across this foam pad and is squeezed between this roller here and actually squeezes the ink and forces it down into this chamber. So Brother says obviously you're changing your ink cartridge, your toner cartridge, but then after so long, whenever these wear out, you have to replace these holders as well, all 4 of them, which is another 150 quid. Then after they go, you'll have to replace the drum as well, this here yoke, which is another, what, 100 quid. I've never replaced it, I've only ever just cleaned it. And after that, you'll have to replace this box here as well. Can't remember what they actually call it, but it's basically a bin. So this, because this is where all the excess goes, depending on how much toner you're actually going through, eventually you'll have to replace this. So this is the main one. This could be what's causing the mess as well. This is where the excess goes. We want to see now if there's too much in it. Fair warned, this is toner. So So this can be a messy job. And she's not actually all that full. But now that we have her open, we may as well empty it. That's all that is. Basically just a bin. Open space inside. A wee grid that vibrates back and forth that helps distribute the toner. That's where all the empties go. And a wee auger then as well to actually run it across so it spreads out evenly. All you have to do this is dump it. Now the last thing you want to do when dealing with this is sneeze. So this is just a dry powder. Whiff of air or blow the compressor on here, or a bad sneeze, and that's up and in the air, and not stuff you want to be breathing in either. There we go. So this here is a fairly simple device, not expensive either to actually replace if you needed to. All she's doing is turn the cog, it rotates this auger to spread the powder across, and then it vibrates or oscillates this plate back and forth so it distributes it down so it's in there evenly. But it's not an expensive part. Just make sure the gasket's definitely in there. Yep, I think that costs about what, 20 or 30 euro to replace that whole unit if you needed to, so that's not the most expensive bit, but all these extra pieces do add up over time. And as well, it's been a while since I actually was working at this machine. It's been a while since I've been working at this machine and haven't looked up the names. I've been calling these things wrong. So this is the waste collector. This is called the transfer belt. So that part there costs about 100 euro. Obviously these here are the cartridges. And these here are the drums. So to replace all 4 drums on this printer, which they say you need to do every so often, whenever it comes up their working life is used up, it costs about 200 euro to buy all 4 drums. So that ain't cheap. And the last time they needed to be replaced, I just reset it and let them keep on running. My preventative maintenance is good, and you can see why it's there. Preventative and predictive maintenance keeps the machine running well into the future, and you can save you money in the long run. But for preventative or predictive maintenance to actually work or be effective, the actual repairing cost over time needs to be cheaper than buying a new unit. So if you think about it, if you had to replace them drum kits and the waste roller and the cartridges as well, you're nearly coming up close to half the price of the actual printer itself. So over time, replacing these parts will keep it going, but you're quickly adding up to the price of the machine. Sometimes it would be better to actually just leave them till they break and just replace the machine. Right, so that'll do them bits. But it'll also just clean out the inside of the printer itself. That's a wee bit dirty too. I'll also just give this a little blast, just to clean it out a little bit. Don't want to use too much air. Now, sticking everything back in couldn't be easier. You have your waste first. And then your big belt. And your drums, the cartridges in it. It's all labelled down the side so you don't get your colours mixed up. Now we'll just give a wee test print again. See what she's like. Not so bad. No marks. Clean paper. Printing right. That's what we want. Now if you want to actually reset some of the other parts, the drums themselves or the belt or the paper feed, to do that, go into settings, all settings, and then go down to machine info. Then you have parts life. And that'll actually give you your drums, so these ones are down at 30% now, so we'll have to reset them soon. The actual belt unit, I've reset that recently, so it's at 96. The fuser also needs to be reset sometimes. That's a wearable part as well. That's the element that actually gives the heat that binds the toner to the paper. And the PF kit was actually the paper feed kit. So that's what actually feeds the paper in. That there, when it wears out, generally you will be replacing it because it actually has a feed. You sort of need that. But it's not an expensive part. It's like 20 or 30 euro for that there. And click on where the hash button is. Hold that. Then you go into the reset menu. So reset the black drum. Yes. Reset cyan. Yes. Magenta. That'll just save any error messages or timers coming up saying parts need to be replaced shortly. Then belt unit, we'll just reset that as well while we're at it. Well, then reset now. If you go into the same thing, machine info, parts, they're back up at 100% again now. So that's her. Machine thinks everything's brand new and ready to go, so no more warnings, no more time for maintenance messages coming up on your screen and the thing won't print. So that is the Brother DCP9020CDW. So that's how you keep her up and running for cheap, not have to spend a fortune on parts. Use the copy ink, saves a massive amount of money, and if she leaks out like she did, you can quickly clean it out. If the parts wear out, reset the counters, keep it running without replacing them. Because in the long run, if you actually can get away with not replacing them for 1 or 2 times, you're saving the price of the machine basically.